Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Check Me. We want to talk about Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni, the situation that happened in Kansas City, why Nick Sirianni kind of has that extra motivation to win this game. It's one thing when you have two coaches that have coached together and then they split for whatever reason, but this is a different situation. So basically, when Nick Sirianni got a coaching job in Kansas City in 2012, they went 2-12 under Romeo Carmel. Now, the Chiefs hire Andy Reid, and when they hire Andy Reid decided to keep Nick Sirianni on his staff. Now, Nick Sirianni is not bent out of shape of it, but you do remember those things, right? Hey, you didn't keep me. Hey, look, I want to get you back. But here's what Nick Sirianni said. He was very cordial, very respectful. He said, do you always have this little chip on your shoulder? Sure, yeah, I do. Nick Sirianni said, but that's who I am as a coach, as a person. I want to make sure I'm working my butt off to get as good as possible I possibly can. And sure, you hold on to some things, right? So even though he felt that, hey, look, he felt he didn't get the opportunity. He said, look, I still remember this. So he said he then went on to say this. So when they let him go, they brought over David Culley, who was with Andy Reid in Philadelphia to kind of take over his position. So he said Andy came in because we weren't good enough in Kansas City. And he stepped in and did an unbelievable job, of course, right? Won a Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni said, what I appreciate is that he brought everyone in and talked to them. I didn't coach with Andy Reid, and he gave me a good example of what to do with the hard part of the job. Hey, I got a guy here. He was complimentary. He knew I would be down, so he gave me strength when I was down. I appreciate that, and it sounds like that's who he is as a person, as a coach. So, he goes on to say, I was in the press box standing on the table like this, waving arms, pumps fist. I was just so emotional about it, he said. But as time goes on, you mature and you think about it. Hey, I need to go through that. I need to be in that situation. In a sense, you thank God for those things you had to go through because it makes you who you are today. Did I want to leave Kansas City? No, my future wife was from there. We were engaged at the time. She had a nice teaching job there. She and all her friends there, her mom, her dad, were a half hour down the road. Of course, I didn't want to leave, Nick Sirianni said. But then when I look at it, God always puts me in great positions and guide my path. I know I don't say stuff like that all the time, but I know He knows. He said, as I need to learn, needed to go to San Diego to learn to be a different spot out of my comfort zone, potentially to meet Frank Wright. So after that, Frank Wright picked him up in Indianapolis, and then he came over here to Philadelphia. So they did the Philadelphia shuffle, where Philadelphia breeded quite a few coaches. But what the maturity of Nick Sirianni is showing here, and I think this is very important. First of all, he recognized, and this is what a lot of people don't realize. He recognizes how Andy Reid conducted himself as a coach, and of course, we love Big Red in Philadelphia, and how he kind of conducted himself as a coach. He went in there and he let him know he was respectful. He looked out for the guy. Where I think this is interesting, and where it's not like, hey, they know each other, is simply because because he never got a chance to coach with him. It would have been one thing if he coached under him, so he knows some tendencies and whatnot. But they're kind of coming blank with each other because they've never had that overlap when it comes to coaching. I like the fact that Nick Sirianni does remember that, and he's not letting it get to him. But he said, "Hey, look, I want to stick it to him," and I think that's the part of competition that people kind of can't consume. They can't stomach. Hey, look, he didn't take me. Hey, it's cool. Look, I remember it. But hey, look, he was respectful. I'm gonna make sure I stick it to him. I like the fact that how he approached the conversation. He talked about God brought him through situations and how you get to learn. And I talked about this in the previous video as far as getting to that level of experience, of a head coaching job. You have to have your scars. You have to. You just don't. Not everyone gets a Jeff Saturday bit. Not everyone gets the Deion Sanders treatment, where you just get a head coach off of willy-nilly. So I really feel like, Nick Sirianni learned a lot, and it just makes the game interesting. I think that both of them are respectful to each other, and we're going to see more of these storylines kind of come out as the Super Bowl. People talk about Super Bowl and this whole week when it comes to the media. So Yeah, I just love the fact that not only to mention Howie Roseman was there when Andy Reid brought him. He talked with him. He was patient. He said he was patient. This is what Howie Roseman said. I would not be in this position if it wasn't for Coach Reid, Roseman said. I think about the fact that I was 34-year-old guy, and untraditional, and he was willing to have me as a GM and take the time to talk to me and teach me and be patient with this passionate, persistent person. This means the world always root for him. And of course, of all of us, the Philly faithful, we always root for Andy Reid, want him to do well. Yes, we want to beat the Chiefs, right, because he won one without us, but we always will respect Andy Reid.